The hell with it. Better work this time. I'm telling you, this is my fourth attempt at trying to go live. So I don't know. I did a private live video for myself and I tested out the audio and it seemed to be working on the playback. So hopefully the audio is working right now. I see somebody's on here. I'm just going to pipe up here and hopefully I get a response. This has been insane. This is my fourth time trying to do this. So hopefully it's working now. I played it back. It sounded like I was possessed. It was pretty creepy, actually. So I've been having technological issues here, but trying to get this and go live. Just to do a quick little conversation about what's going on in Chicago or what happened in Chicago last night, and really just talk about what the libertarian position on this should be. And I don't understand why, in my mind, we're very much on the wrong side of all of this. Cables and stuff as I'm trying to sort out my technological issues here. I got cables all over my desk, but anyway, if you missed it, if you aren't watching the news, widespread looting triggered by police shooting in Englewood. And that is a statement from Mayor Lightfoot. That this widespread looting was triggered by a police shooting. Caravans of cars headed to the Loop and North Side to loot stores after a police officer shot and wounded a 20-year-old man in Englewood, causing widespread destruction and mayhem. Mayor Lori Lightfoot said Monday. I got a thumbs up. I'm assuming that means my audio is working. I hope. We are waking up in shock this morning. Lightfoot said, to be clear, this had nothing to do with First Amendment protected activity. And approximately 400 officers were sent downtown and approximately 100 people were arrested on various charges, according to Brown. 13 officers were injured, including one who had his nose broken. A security guard and bystanders were shot during the melee and taken to the hospital in critical condition. Now, this is where there's a couple of different things here. First, I'm seeing a lot of I'm seeing a lot of people supporting these rioters. We need to stop calling these people protesters. They're not protesters. This isn't Black Lives Matter. I promise you, this isn't Black Lives Matter. At least not the protesters, not the people who are out there carrying signs and chanting and doing those peaceful things. That's not who these people are. They are co-opting this movement. I have said in multiple videos that I'm not necessarily a Black Lives Matter supporter. One of my big issues is that people who are in this organization aren't shouting down and decrying this violence. So I'm not here defending necessarily Black Lives Matter, but I am saying that these people aren't Black Lives Matter. That's not who these people are. And so we need to make sure that we're making that distinction, because I'm seeing like libertarians supporting what's going on out there, and the Boog Boys and all these different parts of the Libertarian Party. And there's a lot of division amongst libertarians right now about what's going on. But the non-aggression principle applies to everyone, not just the people you support. So this isn't peaceful. These people are aggressors against innocent parties. You can't loot. Looting that's not a way to bring about change. Taking over a government building is a way to bring about change, quite frankly, like the Bundy Ranch protest or whatever. If you're going to attack a facility and have a more violent protest, then it should be a government facility. That's who you're protesting against. These people are smashing into businesses and stealing. That's not a form of protest. But what's worse, and I think what's more disturbing, is that people that I know to be relatively intelligent people are getting sucked into this thing. So the rumor on the street was, the way this thing got started was that these people, I don't know if you call them professional looters or what, these folks heard about the shooting and they spread a rumor that the police had killed a child. That's the word on the street, is that's what got everybody all spun up and created this cover situation for these looters to go out and break into these stores. But what really happened was, in an earlier statement, the Chicago Police Department said officers were dispatched to reports of a man with a gun at 2:30 p.m. on Sunday in the 5700 block of South Racine Avenue. When police arrived at the scene, they spotted a suspect matching the description. The suspect then fired at officers as they approached him in an alleyway. The suspect continued to shoot at police as he attempted to flee on foot, police said. Police exchanged fire and struck the suspect. He was taken to University of Chicago Medical Centers, hit with his injury. His condition is unknown. So let's be clear. The police were called because somebody reported a man with a gun. They show up, the man with the gun is there and shoots at them. There is nothing to protest here. There is no cause for protest. This police action is sometimes justified. You can't shoot at police when they show up. Police were called because the man had a gun. So we really have to be careful here that we don't just start deciding that all police action is now invalid in the wake of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Everything the police do is an aggression and an unjustified action, because you're already seeing, I've been talking about this for weeks, you're already starting to see the results of this anti-police attitude, where in these cities, the homicide rates are climbing. It's insane. I think it's a 95% homicide rate increase in Minneapolis. Who do you think is being impacted by this increased violence? Who do you think this is impacting directly? All this increased violence because we have this anti-police, I hate the police movement. Hey, thanks for the update on the audio, man. It was seriously, it's my fourth time trying to get on a live stream here to get the audio right. So I appreciate it. But we have to be really careful. This anti-police attitude, this defund the police attitude is causing a lot of harm. And if you don't understand that that's harming directly the Black community, then you're not paying attention. So this is dangerous stuff. And as a libertarian, I think sometimes our knee-jerk reaction is to oppose the police, oppose the state, always on the side of less government, less authority, less people in our faces. I get it. I understand it, because that's who we are, right? We're the small party government. We're the anti-authority government, or anti-authority party. So sometimes it's a knee-jerk reaction to say, I'm not on the side of the police under any circumstance, and just always take that opposing side to the police. But I think we can all see that this is causing a lot of harm nationwide here. I mean, we're talking about widespread looting. We got a security guard who's in critical condition. So what was the fault of the security guard? We've got to start understanding that there are roles for government, and one of those roles is to protect property, and it is to prevent violence against the innocent. And if you happen to just own a business in a certain area and people attack it, you are an innocent person being attacked. And yes, it is the role of government to intervene in that scenario and protect property, because property is liberty. So I think that a lot of libertarians are kind of failing to see the forest through the trees. We've got to start making good arguments and make proper conversations. We're the people who can bridge this gap between the 3%er Trump 2020 people who are on one side of this fight and the far left on the other side, running around with masks and causing damages. And we got to say, look, I'm on the side of the peaceful protesters. I want justice for Breonna Taylor. I want justice for George Floyd. I want to see this all play out. But I also believe that we need to be respectful of people's property, and that attacking innocent people is no way to get us where we need to go. And then we need to start talking about actual solutions. And one of the things we can't do is attack the police first. Okay, you don't solve a problem like this from the bottom up. You solve it from the top down. And we need to keep having the conversation about the war on drugs. And we need to keep having the conversation about, when we want to have conversations about qualified immunity and reallocation of resources, the first thing we have to do is we have to work on eliminating the perverse incentive for people to sell drugs illegally, which is the incredible high value of drugs because of our war on drugs. This is prohibition. I mean, it failed before. It's going to fail. It's failing now. And we have to point out that this is a result of that. And a lot of people have trouble connecting the dots between the two things. But the bottom line is you got to remember, we have this huge, massive police force that's engaging with the public millions of times a year, primarily to fight this war on drugs. And because of that, we need tons and tons of police, which means we hire police who maybe aren't as qualified as they should be to patrol our streets, because we need bodies. If we can end the war on drugs, then we can start talking about having a smaller police force. And then we can start really vetting these officers better, not just when they're hired, but throughout their careers. with constant psychological evaluations because we're not desperate to keep as many bodies on the street. That's the conversation that libertarians should be having when we are talking about what's going on out there. We shouldn't be marching, and we should certainly not be supporting. I mean, I don't have a problem marching with the peaceful protesters, but we can't be out there and be viewed as supporting these rioters and looters, because it takes away whatever bit of credibility we do have. That really hurts us. And I think it hurts us, quite frankly, with regular Democrats and regular Republicans. We're catering to the far left. The Democrats don't like the far left either. There's a reason Bernie Sanders didn't get the nomination over Joe Biden. So we're going to alienate a huge block of voters who aren't going to listen to us anymore, because they're going to look back and remember us being on the wrong side of this argument. So I wanted to bring that up because I think it's starting to be a trend I'm seeing a lot of on social media from libertarians that I follow, where they're just not able to draw this line properly between supporting peaceful protests and supporting the rioting that's taking place. So that was just something I wanted to get out. It took me several attempts to get there because I was having significant audio issues. If anybody was here earlier, you probably got a nice little laugh at it. But I wanted to get that out. Wanted to have this conversation. I'm not a super comfortable live streamer, so I don't do it very often. But I really do want to start doing it a lot more. So if you're around and you're not not a subscriber, you don't have notifications on, turn that on, because I'm going to be doing a lot more of these live streams. That's my goal, is to kind of switch over from just doing regular video uploads to actually doing live streams where I can engage a little bit. And it seems like I've got things figured out here technologically. So that's good. That's good news. Anyway, so that's what I wanted. Sorry if you just jumped on here. This was a short one, but I will be back tomorrow. Probably around the same time or maybe a little later in the evening. Like I said, turn on notifications, because I'm definitely going to be live streaming a little bit more often. So thank you all for stopping by, and we'll see you guys next time if I can end this live stream.